Hey, what's going on, friends and family? Today I wanted to drop a short video on inflation, what it is and what causes it. Let's jump right into it. Well, inflation is the measure of goods and services and how they become more expensive over a certain period of time, typically a year. But what causes inflation? Here are the 6 main causes for inflation. It's called demand pull inflation, which is the first one. This is when the demand for certain goods and services is greater than the economy's ability to meet those demands. So when the economy needs more of something like toilet paper, like fruits, like vegetables, meat, just for example, well, the cost starts to go up because the supply of those goods does not meet, it does not balance out with the demand for those goods, right? So then the price starts to increase. That's called demand pull inflation. Second, we have increased money supply. The government continues to print money. Well, guess what? It goes right into the third reason for inflation, which is devaluation, because the more you have of something, it devalues that product, that good, that industry, right? The more you have of something and the more it becomes saturated, right? The more available it is, the value of it goes down. That's why when things are rare, like specific shoes, Jordans, watches, the price is much higher because there's not as many available of that particular item. So increased money supply and devaluation are the second and third reasons for inflation. Now we also have something called cost push inflation. This is the increase of prices when the cost of wages and materials goes up. So that's pretty straightforward, right? Anytime the price is going up, that is what we consider inflation. Rising wages. Well, rising wages is kind of a balancing act to keep up with inflation. But as long as inflation is going up, well, we're going to start to see rising wages. Not start to see, but we'll continue to see rising wages. And the sixth reason is policies and regulations. When the government increases the tax on a product, a good, a service, an industry, right? They create a policy for it and then they create regulations to enforce those policies. Well, it's gonna make the cost go up on whatever cost, service, good, or industry that is, right? Because the tax just has increased. So now the only thing that a company or that the person who is manufacturing those products, those services, those goods, they're gonna have to increase the price. And that is inflation. Now, this is all measured by what we call the gross domestic product, right? That's the measure of final goods and services in a country typically over a year's time, right? That's how we measure it. So this is the overall complex formula, right, of how we measure inflation and how it impacts our economy. Why is inflation even important for you to know about? Because you live in this economy. If you're working, if you're making money and you need to spend money, which is all of us, right? Or all of us should be working. But most of the working families dealing with inflation, the wages are not rising as quickly as inflation is. And then companies are having to pay more because of the demand pool for products and services and goods. So they're doing layoffs because they can't pay as many people. So there's less people working. And when less people are working and can't afford their needs for their family, right, this puts us in a recession, right? Because the demand for products and services is so high, companies can't keep up with inflation and they can't keep up with the demand for products and services. So then they start to lay people off. Then it's harder to get jobs for particular industries, and this puts us in a recession, right? Because we can't keep up with the inflation. So this is why it's important for you to understand what it is, so that way you know why it's happening. And the best way to keep up with inflation is to find ways to make additional income. If you just have a job, right, then there's so many other ways that you can earn additional income to help you provide for your family. If there is a gap or a variance from how much you make in comparison to what you need. Also, if you're self-employed, if you're a business owner like myself, right, we have to work continually through recessions and depressions and tough times and challenging times. And even when the business isn't as profitable as it was maybe when we weren't in a recession, we still have to work through these things in order for us to continue to provide for our families and for ourselves as well. So that's your short lesson on inflation, what it is and what causes it. If this video was helpful, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please like and comment on social media platforms. More videos to come, and I thank you all for watching.